Welcome to the Loving Lake Geneva podcast. I'm your host, Karen Stray Rappaport. Each episode, I take an outside the wake look at the area's most interesting people, places, and happenings. It's another great day here in Lake Geneva, and the lake looks stunning, so let's jump right in. Well, today we have with us Christine Porritt, who is helping people learn the fastest growing game, taking the country by storm. You all know it and love it. Mahjong. Welcome, Kris.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm sure everyone has at least heard of Mahjong by now, but for the people who still really don't know, they might have heard of it, but they really don't even still know what it's all about. Can you kind of give us a general explanation?
Sure. It's a fairly old game, originated in Asia and was brought over to the United States in about the 1920s. It's a tile game and played similarly to a card game where you draw and discard and you try to create a winning hand. So, there's a league that governs us, and it's called the National MAHJONG League. And they have developed a card that is a collaboration of all the winning hands. So when we have 14 tiles that match our card in one of the lines, then we call MAHJONG and we win the game.
Okay, so like you said, the object is to match the lines, but there is more than one way to win, correct?
Um, Other than matching the 14 tiles, well, the lines are flexible.
Yeah.
So as you interpret this card, which is fairly complex, once you've decoded that, you can interpret the card in different ways. So there's, I think, 72 lines on the card, but over 1,000 different ways that you can win.
And I think that's the part that throws me. People
Yeah.
might sound like, oh, great, my chances are so good of winning with those odds, but yeah, not so much. You have to know what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Well, can you kind of tell us why you think, I mean, I've been hearing about it for decades, but lately it's just like insane. Like it's everywhere. Everybody I know plays. Why do you think the sudden popularity?
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, it's really, really fun. And it's really cognitive as well. So I mean, when I was growing up, my mom and even when I was a young mom, we played bunco in our neighborhood. And that was a very easy dice game and it connected people. And I think now this is just me. I've not collaborated with anybody on this, but COVID was so isolating for all of us that once we came out of COVID, we were looking for ways to connect to one another again personally and not over our phones. So, outside of being totally fun and really a great mind exercise for us, it connects us to one another and it's very social.
And there seems to be several different like Chinese mahjong, American mahjong, and then I got in my kit I got a card that says international card 2026 card. So how many different like kind of styles of mahjong are there, and how do we make
Well,
sure that we're picking the right one when we order things?
I think there's a lot of variations on it. So originally it was the Chinese version. Then, there's every country, many countries, let's say, have picked it up and adapted it. So we picked it up and we adapted it by using this National Mahjong League card, the playing card that we use. Other countries don't use that card or maybe use a different card. So that's where all these different cards kind of come into play. There's a Hong Kong version, a Singapore version. I believe there's a version in South America. But here we play with the National Mahjong card, and most everybody I only know American Mahjong, but most people that I have connected with are also American Mahjong players. Although there are some Chinese Mahjong players out there that have now converted to American Mahjong that I've met. The International Mahjong card is a card that's actually developed by Oh My Mahjong, which is a Mahjong tile company, and they created their own card, and it has caused a bit of a stir in the Mahjong community because we all played with the National Mahjong League card, and now we have this other card that we can play with, which, if you think about it, if people come to the games with different cards, it creates problems. We all should be playing off of the same card as we're playing together. So I look at it as just offering variations on the game. If you get bored with the one card, go to another card.
Okay. So how many people are able to play a Mahjong game?
Typically we play with 4 people.
4 people.
So there are variations of the game where we can play with 3 and like a dummy hand. And then there's another variation called Siamese Mahjong, which is a version that plays with 2 people. And essentially in that game, you're playing 2 hands at one time.
Oh gosh, I'm not ready for
Yeah.
that.
It's really fun actually, but it's a little intimidating
Yeah.
to think about when you're a newer player, for sure.
So let's do 2, one for newer players and one for experienced players. How long does one game of Mahjong typically take?
For experienced players, I would say maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour. For newer players, probably double that. But the learning curve is pretty steep. So once those newer players become comfortable and confident and get to know the card a little bit, they start winning and the games start getting shorter.
And then how often do you play?
I play, I would say I play a couple times a week.
Yeah. Is that pretty typical for people who are Mahjong lovers?
There's some people out there that are pretty crazy. I don't know if you've seen any of the Instagrams, but there's just funny memes about moms leaving houses, complete disasters because they've got to play another game of Mahjong. It becomes kind of an addiction. But for me, a couple times a week is all I really need. I'm teaching maybe once a week too. So between teaching and playing, I have to get other things done.
Yeah, right. You have another life. Well, speaking of teaching, so that's how we met, is you came highly recommended by a few people as a Mahjong instructor in the area. And so I gathered 8 people, and then we took a lesson from you in my home and ended up taking a second lesson. And it was so fun, so overwhelming. You were so patient, and you let us laugh at ourselves. And you started with the very basics. And I mean, we're still learning, but you gave us such a good base to learn. And we keep saying, what would Kris say? What would Kris do?
Oh, I love that. That's hysterical.
Yeah. So tell us about your instruction. Where do you do the lessons? How many people do you need to get started? How long are they?
Well, generally I do lessons in people's homes, just like you. People will call me, they're interested in learning, and they gather a group of at least 4 people to learn, and I can go up to 8. I don't like to go any larger than that because I'm spread pretty thin. Then it's a lot of hands-on for me, looking at people's hands and answering questions, etc.
So you did a lot of running around the table with us.
I did, yeah.
We're like, Kris,
I did.
Kris,
You guys were a
Kris.
super fun group, but yeah, because everybody's playing and they're not sure what they're doing. So I kind of go to each person and give them maybe a tip here or there, or tell them they're on the right track or whatever. But it's very, even though it's a group setting, it becomes pretty individualized. So I try not to go any bigger than 8. But in order to create an actual game situation, we need 4. So I hopefully I get 4 people. If not, I can work with it, but generally it's a minimum of 4, maximum of 8.
And how long are the lessons?
The lessons are 3 hours, and I teach them in groupings of 2. So I do a first lesson and a second lesson, and they're each 3 hours long. we go over almost all the time, but it's
Yeah, I was going to say people might think, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing 3 hours?" Well, it went by so fast, and
it goes
we
really
weren't ready
fast.
to
It even
leave.
goes really fast for me. Sorry, Karen. Yeah, it even goes really fast for me. So I enjoy it so much. It's been actually it's been really a blessing for me because I sort of organically got involved in this. I learned the game. I started teaching because really nobody knew how to play. So I just picked it up. I got certified through MAHJONG and off I went. And I've met the most amazing people. I've had really incredible experiences. People are so gracious. It's been such a gift to me. And I hope my students feel the same way.
Definitely. And it takes a certain type of person to teach something this complicated to a bunch of chatty women that we all are.
Well, and that's the fun of it, really, is like watching the women socialize, seeing groups get together that maybe haven't been together for a while, watching groups proceed after lessons. And like your group is getting together, very often and playing. And you pulled this group together through many friend connections. And you're getting together now to play, which is, I mean, to me, that's the whole point.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was a little bit of an eclectic group, and now we've become, a really tight group, and
Mhm.
it was really neat to see. So from the very beginning stages to being able to like go anywhere, play anywhere, know what you're doing without asking a million questions, to be a seasoned player, what would you say is the time length there for that learning curve?
I would say that you know what, that's all dependent on you or the player and how much they practice. So practice makes perfect. Just like with anything else, you're training your brain to do something totally different, and you need to practice that. So if you have time and you practice, there's a, a number of online sites where you can play the game. And I suggest just playing every day if you can, even if it's just for a few minutes over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever. And just get to know that card. And as the more you practice, the better you'll feel. And as soon as you feel confident, that's when you start taking off.
I've learned though, one glass of wine is enough because you have to be clear-headed to be able to think and strategize.
Yes, I know. I love the wine, and it does definitely go with the game and the social. But it's funny. I can tell in my lessons when the wine is starting to hit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right. No, you need to have your thoughts
Yeah.
clear for sure. So let's say somebody takes some lessons and they don't have a group that, wants to keep playing. How do they find somewhere to play and people to play with?
That can be kind of tricky. And I try to connect people as much as I can. I've got my list of students and I stay connected with a lot of them. So I try to keep them connected. So I'm hearing of like sometimes there's open play nights hosted by, other people. Sometimes, a restaurant or a bar or even the library will offer weekly play events. So yeah, I would say the first thing to do would be to check out the National Mahjong League and see if they're offering any publications of what's happening in your area. Then potentially there's so many Facebook groups. So if you're familiar with Facebook and you feel comfortable using that, you can look up some of the Mahjong groups and then even drill down to local groups. And a lot of times you can find places to play through that group. And then your local library. I know there's one that plays, we're here in Lake Geneva, and there's a group that plays every week at the Lake Geneva Library. And I heard Fontana Library was starting a group. And then I also heard Williams Bay Library was looking to start a group. So that can be a really nice outlet for people who want to play.
And I know, there are online places to learn and to practice and to play with like bots and everything. And you gave us some good resources just for how to practice our skills, which is really helpful. I personally cannot imagine actually learning online. I just,
Mhm.
in a million years, like I feel like you need an instructor. But how about those? Do you recommend people going online just to practice or, to play with the?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. A lot of the apps are really super helpful. And you know what? Some people do learn by that method. I mean, I personally feel like a one-on-one is a better experience and a quicker experience. But if you live rurally or if you live, somewhere where you don't have a teacher, that may be your only option. And if that is, then tap into it and hopefully that'll work for you.
So, when I was trying to get the group together, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm curious, but I don't have the time, or it sounds too hard. What is your advice to people who are curious, but very hesitant to get started?
Try. You don't know until you try. It's hopefully you guys found out because you're still playing that it is um it's just a very addictive game and there's so many benefits to it that I just really hope people make time to play it. If you truly don't have time, and you know who doesn't have time, a lot are the young moms and college kids really like playing, but I mean they're super busy. So if you have time to devote to it at all, I would say give it a try. If your life is crazy, maybe just wait a little bit until you have more time.
I feel like I see women playing. I don't understand why men don't play. I would think they would enjoy it too. Do you see men playing?
Well, I've taught my husband, and so he plays.
Good.
And we've got a group here in our neighborhood where I taught a number of ladies in the neighborhood, and we get together and play every other week. And many of those women have, exposed the game to their husband or taught them. So in my little neck of the woods, we do have some men, but generally, I think it's mostly women. And I wonder if that's because it kind of goes back to that whole social neighborhood, women getting together for a girls' night out. Maybe the men perceive it that way. It certainly is an awesome game to play with couples
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
And I mean, a lot of the materials are very feminine, like the
Yeah.
tiles and the
Yeah, that's
mats,
true.
they're all
That's
flowery and
true.
pink and everything. Although the one that you brought was really cool looking. It was like a green plaid with like the
Hmm.
tiles.
It's kind of a
That
Ralph
was like,
Lauren sort of
yeah, that
vibe.
was
Yeah.
really cool.
That's why I have
Um,
it because hopefully the men can connect to that. But yeah, I agree. It has a very girly aesthetic. So I
yeah.
don't think men would enjoy that as much. Although my husband does because he doesn't care.
So when people, let's say they take some lessons and they're like, all right, I'm in, what materials do they need to get started?
Well, you need a game. So if you're going to host or somebody in the game in that's playing, one of the four people needs a game, which is a tile set, a set of four racks, which is where you put your tiles when you're playing, like where you would put your hand. And most people like to have a some sort of mat or tablecloth underneath the tiles because the tiles are made of melamine or an acrylic and they're loud and they're bouncy. So if you put them on a wood table, for example, they just kind of dance around and they're super loud. So this mat sort of dampens the sound and also dampens the movement. So most people use a mat as well. So it's the tiles, the four racks, and a mat and
And I
dice.
noticed people who played for a while, like may have several sets, like different mats to go with differently, interchange everything. And I mean, the mats and the tiles, like they're really pretty. So people have a preference of collecting ones that are
It's
pretty.
really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? In all honesty, that's really how I got involved in mahjong at all. Was I saw the tiles, and before I even really knew it was a game, I'm like, "What is this? They're so pretty."
They
And
are.
then I wanted these tiles, but of course, I mean, it doesn't make sense to buy tiles if you don't play the game. So then I had to learn the game, and then I bought the tiles, and then I became a teacher. So yeah, it's a
That's
slippery
funny.
slope.
Yeah, right, exactly. So what do you see as the biggest mistake for people who are just starting out?
Maybe reading the card. The card is all symbols. So reading the card is, I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but it's hard to learn. So you have to decode it on many levels. There's colors, there's symbols, there's values, there's clarifying words. So learning the card and learning how to read the card is probably the biggest barrier to the game. As far as mistakes go, we have many, many rules. They're all situational. If the situation presents itself, the rules get broken. But there is one rule that never changes, and that is you cannot use a joker with a pair or a single tile. So to create a pair or use it alone, you can't use a joker. And I say this over and over and over again in my lessons, and I still see it happening when I'm playing. People still forget that they can't use a joker with a pair. So I'd say that's probably the biggest mistake.
Our group still was doing that mistake. So if people are interested in taking lessons from you, how do they contact you?
Well, I have a website. It's LakeGenevaMahjongClub.com. I'm also on Instagram, and it's at Lake Geneva LG Mahjong Club. But all the information's on my website. You can connect to my email. You can contact me by phone. You can find my Instagram, look at my lessons, etc.
And I can't recommend you in the game enough.
Oh,
I was one of those that were like, I'm not going to play. I don't have time, and it sounds too complicated. I've got other stuff to do, and then it was like kind of circling around me, where everybody was playing. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this and see if I like it, and I'm hooked. I mean,
you're hooked.
I'm hooked,
You
and I
bought
just
the
want to get
set.
better, and I want to learn. And everybody we've played with, even outside the group, has been so nice,
Oh, good.
and
Oh, good.
patient. So
It was such a pleasure to meet you. And here
oh,
we are. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about as far as this game goes. It's taken me to places that I never thought. In my wildest dreams, I never thought somebody would ask me to be on a podcast. So I met you because I taught you. I feel like we're friends now. You're helping my
yeah.
children find a house, and I'm on a podcast. It's kind of the full circle moment here.
I love it. Which brings me to the last question, because, these kind of connections are one of the reasons I love the Lake Geneva area so much. But what would be, I know there's probably many favorite things, but if you could say, what's your favorite thing about living in the Lake Geneva area, what would you say?
I mulled this question over because it is, I mean, how do you not say the lake or, the beauty of our home? But for me, it just comes back to this is my home. I grew up here. My parents moved here from Chicago when I was in middle school, and I've lived many other places. And in the last, I think 3 years ago, we moved back here permanently, and I still have some family here. And it's just in my heart. It's in my blood. It's just home to me.
I hear that so many times where people are like, I've traveled the world and I've lived around the world, and they come back here and it's still the most special place to them. And so there are just a lot of people who it goes back generations, or they just, once you live here and experience it, it is hard to go
It is.
to go anywhere else that you feel more at home. So
I agree. I
yeah.
agree.
Well, thank you so much for all your help for my friends and for me, and thanks for coming on today. And hopefully you'll be helping a lot more people learn Mahjong.
I hope so. And thanks for having me. It's been such a pleasure to meet you and get to know you better. And all of your friends are awesome, by the way. I love them. Keep texting me. I love your pictures. I love when you talk about me. So just keep in contact.
Well, can't wait to see you again, and we'll call you to play when we, don't have 1,000 questions to ask you during our play. So
Oh,
you
I
can
love
have
it.
fun
Yes,
too.
yes, yes. I'm in. I'm in.
Well, as always, thanks to the listeners for letting me share my love of Lake Geneva and the wonderful people like Kris who help make it so special. I'm Karen Rappaport. Join me next time as another guest takes their place in the sun. Bye for now.
Feel alright, like the morning.